Yeah. So jumping back, okay, you're back in Louisiana and you're getting your confirmation that hey, I need to take music a lot more serious and I'm really gonna go for it. And then you started doing that. You
Hmm.
started working on the song the best me. That was your first song that you put out, right?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think. So, um, I did What's on My Mind.
What's on my mind?
Yeah, and I had put that out on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a cover. It's not really a cover. It's like a remix of K Camp and Jacquees' song,
Mm-hmm.
What's on Your Mind. But I did
Right.
the female version.
Okay,
So I
okay.
wrote, I rewrote it, but it was really cool, and I put it out on YouTube.
Right.
So that was like my first project, my
Mm-hmm.
first time doing a video, and it
Right.
was like, oh my god, this is so much work. I was like, oh my god, but then yeah, I was inspired to do Best of Me, and
Yes.
I worked on that with Reggie Nick in New Orleans, and I did it like June.
Mm-hmm.
We recorded in June or July, but I didn't put it out till December,
Right.
because I spent some time like getting the rights from Anthony Hamilton,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to put it out, and then honestly just sitting on it, feeling like, are people gonna like this?
Yeah.
Because
People love it.
people love it.
It's like officially your first hit.
Oh,
But you never thought of it like that,
I
huh?
never thought of it like that.
That's officially your first hit.
Yeah,
And that's like one of your first songs that you put out.
yeah.
Like before we go into the accolades, I want to know what inspired that because like
That's
come
funny.
on, this is your first hit. Like I got to know the story behind this.
So, I was with Josh, rest in peace, Josh, and we were just chilling in his truck one day, and smoking, and we're listening to the radio, and the song came on, the original by Anthony
Mhm.
Hamilton came on, and I just remember being like, oh my gosh, I just felt overwhelmed because I was like, this song completely encapsulates how I feel about you.
Right.
And he was like, really? I was like, yeah, because being with him was so different from the previous relationship,
Right.
because like growing to love him was like loving myself,
Mm.
because he would just push me to be a better person,
Right.
and sometimes he would challenge me on certain things, but when I like thought about it, I'm like, that what he's saying isn't hurting at all, it's actually like helping. That's like a character flaw that I
Mhm.
should work on,
Mhm.
or like that's just like, it some he was very big on like, well, obviously loyalty. He was big on loyalty, but also just like thinking about how someone else is probably feeling before
Mhm.
you say
Yeah.
something or do
Empathy.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like very big on family. So you could tell that he was like that to everyone around him, because
Mhm.
everyone loved him.
Mhm.
People gathered around him like all the time. So I worked on that. I'd been alone a lot. So I think it was just not something that I had to practice.
Right.
But like he pushed me to do that and work on that about myself. Um, and so I just felt like being with him made me a better person. So I wanted to be the best person when I was around him. Like
Mhm.
it made me feel encouraged.
Mhm.
And so when that song was playing, "Giving You the Best of Me," I was like, that's how I feel. Like I'm trying to
Right.
give you the best version of me,
Right.
Um, and I was like, I want to redo this song. I want to put a New Orleans bounce beat on it, and I want to sing it. And he was like, you have to do it. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And at the time, like we didn't know how to do it, like,
Right.
but we
Right.
were like,
Right.
I'm gonna do it.
Right.
So, probably like 2 weeks later, he passed away.
Wow.
He died, and I wrote this other song after he died that someone gave me a beat. The person I was performing with, we were in a reggae band, and so she had made a beat and she gave it to me, and it was a reggae beat,
Mhm.
and I wrote to it, and it was a very beautiful song, but she was like, "You can't put this out," and I was like, "Why?" But she felt like it made me seem suicidal,
Mm.
and I wasn't suicidal, but I definitely was like not here. You know
Right.
what I mean?
That's very traumatic to lose a person that close to you that means so much to you. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I was like trying to explain to people, like my aunt was freaking out about it. I was trying to explain to people like I'm not suicidal, like you guys just don't get it. And so she was like, you need to finish processing what happened. But you can't, this isn't something you want to put in the world because a lot of people aren't even going to understand it to
Right.
take it incorrectly.
Right.
It's like, okay. So then I would always like have dreams about him. Like he would come to me in my dreams and stuff. And I started remembering like what we said we were going to do.
Right.
So I started reaching out to musicians in the city and being like, do you know who can help me, make this beat? And people put me in touch with Reggie Nick, who at the time didn't have any Grammys, but now has a bunch of Grammys.
Okay,
so
Reggie,
it was really cool. Yeah. So I went to his studio. It was so funny because I had Kari and Josh's son with me, Lil Josh, and they were in the studio. And I showed up there with like a bandana on my head, like my hair hadn't been done in weeks. I looked homeless probably, and I had like McDonald's, like they had McDonald's, and he opened the door and I was like, "Don't worry, they have McDonald's, so they're gonna be quiet." And I just walked. He was like, "It's fine," and I was just like, "Be quiet." Like, but he was like waiting for me to give him the instrumental, and I was like, "Ain't no instrumental."
Right.
I was like, "You play the piano, right?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's a keyboard, right?" He like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "We're gonna recreate these chords and build this beat." And he was like, "Okay." So we did it, and then I hopped on the mic, did the vocals, and then afterwards he was like, "Wow, I didn't know we were gonna be doing all that today." And I was like, "Yeah,
That's what's up. You had worked them that day.
Yeah, he worked for that studio money to that day.
Man, but then Best of Me came out of that.
Yeah, Best of Me came out. I loved it. I was showing it to people and everybody loved it. But I was just like so nervous to put it out. So then I had read the book, Everything You Need to Know About the Music Business.
Yes, by Donald Passman.
Oh my God, it was so much information in there. So I found out that I needed to get permission to put the song out. So I started that process. It actually didn't take that long. But then after I got the permission, then I was like, oh.
It's like, nah, I can put it out for real. You got to then at that point.
Yeah, but then I still was like, oh no. Like, I'm scared. I was like, no, I don't have any excuse.
Right. You have no excuse, right?
No excuse. And then my photographer took like some photos of me. He was like, this is the cover art. And so I was like, no, I don't have any excuse. But yeah, I finally put it out like December 30th. Like the year was on, and I was like, I need to just go ahead and do it. Like the year was almost over. And I don't really do like New Year's resolutions. I just do like end of the year, what's it called? When you're manic.
Yeah.
End of the year manic episodes.
Yeah.
When you're like, I gotta do all the things I said I was gonna do.
Right.
So I like released, if you look at the release date, it says like December 30th or 31st. And then
you released it.
I released it into the abyss because I didn't know how to market it. But then that's during the pandemic, so then we were on Clubhouse. So I was on Clubhouse like every night, like playing the song for people. And then I remember one lady, I blocked her because she was like, every song you make sounds the same. And I was like, she's deaf. I was like, she can't hear because this song doesn't sound like, no, she's not.
I was about to say.
I was like, this song doesn't sound like anything I've ever made or anyone's ever made. I was like, girl, I blocked her. And people were like, you shouldn't have blocked her. And I was like, yeah, because I'm not going to let that negativity like enter my space.
Right.
But I'm still very much like that. Like I don't let people's negativity because I'm like, if you're telling me something that makes sense, then it's like, okay. But when she said that, I was like, you're not making any sense. Because like we made that beat. We made that beat from scratch. Okay. I sound completely different. But anyway, yeah. So I honestly started making more music. I was in Atlanta. So I didn't forget about Best of Me, but it was just, some people were telling me like, oh, you made a mistake by making your first song a cover song. And so it did kind of like,
people always got their opinions.
Everybody had a lot of opinions on Clubhouse. Everybody. So
but then when that thing blow up, what they got to say now? Come on now.
So yeah, so I kind of like ignored it, and then last year, this year January, I was just like, it was like January 3rd. I was just scrolling on TikTok because I love TikTok, and I was just scrolling, and then I got to this video. It was this guy. He was golfing, and my song was playing on it, and I was like, I must know him. Like, it's like,
Right.
who's that? I must know him. So I go to his page and I'm looking. I'm like, I don't know this man. I've never met him. And then I click on the sound, and then it pulls up 2,000 videos that
Wow.
have been made to my song, and I was
Wow.
like, and I was just sitting there scrolling all day. Like, they've been making these videos all year. Like,
Right.
all year they were doing that, and I had no idea. Like,
Wow.
nobody notified me to be like, your song is viral on TikTok.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just figured it
Man. Where
out.
you at now?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't go there no
You
more.
don't go in there no
It's
more?
so overwhelming. Every time I get on there, there's so many notifications.
Right.
I'm like, because I really like to go on TikTok to just scroll.
Right.
So now it's like, if I go on there, I need to interact with these, So
Right.
I'm not ready. So I will one day, but
Yeah, but it's getting up there.
it's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I just sometimes I go on there and I thank people like, thank you
Yeah.
for using my song, but I need to do it more. But it's overwhelming.